Thank God it worked.
It worked.
Yeah, listen, we've had some technical problems the last couple times. We know you're waiting, and we're going to keep you waiting. Welcome to the PBA Mike Aulby Nevada Classic, brought to you by Pilgrims. This is the pregame show, and the guys are actually right behind us, warming up. Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Connectivity.
Are
We should be all right.
Are we
We should
good?
be all right.
All right.
The PBA, I assume that's Nolan. Join us every Monday for Major Monday, where you, the fans, get to vote on what major from the past we rebroadcast. How about that? Maybe some throwbacks from the Chris Barnes era. It's been a minute. Well, you bowled well this week.
Yeah.
So that brings us to this week, technically, is the World Series of Bowling, but we have 2 weeks ago is the show that we're airing right behind us in an hour at 3 p.m. What is it, Pacific time?
Yep.
Which is the Nevada Classic. So we bowled at Coconut Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
which was a much different center than what we are bowling on today, right behind us. So although the players made the top 5, this might not be the same scoring pace, and it might not be the same scenario that we had 2 weeks ago.
A different surface, maybe surfaces.
Yeah.
We had at least SPL over there,
Lots
maybe
of
HPL on the other side because
Yeah.
they're 10 years apart, split-sided. Now we're on Pro Lane on one of the newer,
fresher surfaces.
probably one of the better surfaces we bowl on anywhere in the country.
Yep.
Obviously, the atmosphere is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
100-foot ceilings do make a difference
Yep.
in how it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that guys are going to be playing the lanes a little differently, especially with there being a lot less friction.
Yeah.
I mean, we were throwing some pretty weak bowling balls over there at Coconut, and it was a completely different story this entire week for me at World Series and a lot of the other guys. So it'll be interesting to see how they try to break it down.
Viper's probably the only thing we bowl on that was somewhat close to the Aulby pattern over there.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe there's a little bit to be taken from that, but I agree 100% with Chris. It's they hooked a lot less here on the way to it and off the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so guys are down there practicing now, kind of a pre-show practice session, trying to decide what, if any, of the balls they used at Coconut will look any good on today's show.
Yeah, and there was so much bowling going on that they didn't even really get to practice on the pattern in this bowling center. They bowled the show in a little over an hour now, and they're bowling on it for maybe the first time since bowling on it at Coconut, so they didn't really have an opportunity to drill anything if they wanted to.
And it sounds crazy, but it is how we did a lot of arena shows.
That's what I was going to
back in
ask,
that
because we
time.
had this guy right here says, Failed Peas, says, step ladders at National Bowling Stadium, but the tournament was at Coconut. A lot of times back in the day, it was, you guys bowled a lot of tournaments and then had, almost a set of TV shows. It would make it a whole lot cheaper for the PBA.
We've done them a couple of ways.
And you did them in arenas and
we did a lot of arenas then.
Arenas, stadiums,
and
stuff like that, where you guys could have this huge crowd behind you. Obviously, you've been on some of those shows. How much different was it for you bowling? Let's say you bowl all week in the same center, and then all of a sudden you have a set of lanes in an arena.
I mean, obviously, the atmosphere is way different. And then they set it up, and hopefully the install's good and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about that here. And you have some information on the pairs because we have
You've been
bowled
bowling on it, yeah.
So hey, lane 25 versus lane 26 is, it's going to have a little something and all that. But the most different was the opposite of this situation, where we bowl at Shawnee, and we bowl on one of the best pro lane surfaces, super, super slick.
Yeah.
And then the set that they had there was SPL before we knew what SPL was.
Right.
And by the way, SPL is the super textured AMF surface that turns out to also 10 points softer than HPL.
Yep.
So it was basically like bowling on Guardian after bowling on the slickest, pro anvil skid is what we used to call pro lane back then. And so it is a different, and you have to go in with an open mind. You that's where coming in with an arsenal setup sometimes is way better than going, hey, well, I use these balls and these balls.
Right.
And that'll be tricky, especially for the new guys. And we do have a couple new guys on the show.
Yeah.
I do think that guys like Ethan and Alec are at least experienced enough to be like, hey, I know that these balls look good at Coconut, but I've had a lot of success in the stadium here with these, so maybe I should give those a look as well.
Well,
Because
especially Ethan.
oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
he's been bowling great this entire time. He made the top 16 for the World Championships. Got to pop at that show as well.
To their credit, it's not quite as blind as maybe it is for a lot of guys who've been on tour for a while. Junior
Yeah.
Gold is very much like this.
Yeah.
You bowl in either a bunch of different centers, or the oldest group bowls in one center and then goes to a different one
Yeah.
to bowl in the finals. So Kep has been in that situation.
One
So
Junior
that's
Gold.
not going to be, I mean, for a guy who's, well, it's his second show. That's not really.
Yeah, he bowled on.
He's been on a bunch of
He's
TV
been
shows.
on a couple college TV shows with teammates. I believe a singles college TV show.
Yep.
He won Junior Gold on TV again. Same setup where we got
Yep.
seats down the lanes.
Yeah.
So it's not like he is a first timer. He is in the first match against Jesper. If we're looking at betting odds, he is the best money play. If you want to try and win as much money as possible, he's plus 1,500,
Yeah.
which is absurd. That's telling you the people online and the gambling gods have told us he is the worst chance at winning.
Chance of running the ladder, which is already a long shot.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I honestly think if we flip Kep and Ethan in that match, Ethan has the same odds as Kep at plus
Yeah.
1,500.
I mean, it's just 50, even if it's 50-50 each match.
Yeah.
You're down to
You have to win 4 matches.
6.5% or some
Yeah.
6.25%
Yeah.
to run the ladder, just on a straight flip of the coin.
Yeah.
Jesper in your first match,
Tough.
and it's not the stadium of 1990s
Right,
and
yeah.
whatever. It's not that anymore. I mean, the left it's fine, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not some kind of thing where, oh God, we're going to the stadium and we're going to get run over. We haven't seen that.
Yeah,
We go through 3 times this year: the RPI, Team USA trials, and this, and in none of them has it been
No, and
lopsided.
actually, if we want to give the left-right debate for this first match especially, Jesper was bowling very well the whole week,
Mhm.
and then they put out this last pattern, this World Championship pattern, and he bowled 100 over and 100 over,
Mhm.
which in comparison to the field was about 100 per block short.
Sounded fine.
It sounded fine for me. It sounded great for me.
No, but they were tight and they were different than
Yeah.
the other patterns that we bowled on. Earlier friction, pretty tight down lane. Jesper being very, very married to urethane
And high ball
and higher
speed.
ball speed.
Didn't
Uh,
exactly shape up in his favor.
No, he grinded the first day and hung on. But
He had enough of a lead through the qualifying portion where the 16 games was more of a survive and advance, and we have 16 more games with 30 bonus pins per game to just get on the TV show. Because he's probably just looking, if he gets on the TV show, one, he's the only lefty in the top 16 for following week. But I mean, in this match, I don't know if any of that will apply. Like we said, this was the one pattern that was way different than the rest. So going back to a shorter pattern, this plays once again into his wheelhouse.
Yeah. The flip side is, the thing that'll make it hard for Kep to go up the ladder is he'll probably have to throw urethane early,
Yep.
which means he has to transition out of it.
I think
Almost
Potentially,
certainly inside
yeah.
of 4 games. Because the one thing I've noticed with EJ, and he did the same on the show when he was with Ryan, he's kind of figured out what he wants to do.
I'm going to do this.
And
to
he's
set the
done a
line.
way better job, which he did make some mistakes early on in his career. It's one of the advantages of making a whole bunch of shows. He blows up the part of the lane that to the right of where he wants to play, which is he's going to blow up the track here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak for him, but I would say
He's probably going to
80%
Yeah.
chance he's going to throw a lot of dough balls between 10 and 15, so he can go play between 15 and 25. He wants it to get there. He's proving every week that he is better at that part of the lane, as well as most others,
Yeah.
than all of us. And so he's going to get to where he's most comfortable and where he's the most bulletproof.
And I will say the one of the benefits of bowling here versus at Coconut is the length of, or the number of shots that it would take for that area of the lane to blow open will take more shots because there's less
Very far.
friction here. And I also think that you don't necessarily have to throw the urethane ball
Mhm.
because the
True.
reactive ball will get down there for free.
I know.
Whereas Coconut, it didn't.
Knowing Kep, and I sponsored him as an amateur, he's pretty handsy. He's a great golfer. He's got super quick hands.
Yeah.
He's not going to want to be nice to it.
No,
Right.
I would say
And
he's
so
also.
he's going to claw at it. And so if it's sharp off the end of the pattern, he's going to throw urethane to control the pocket and to give himself a chance to get out of the first match. The thing is, though, I do think you're going to have to get out of it to have a chance to win those last 2 matches, especially EJ at the end, which means you need to be ahead enough in a match somewhere to get a shot or two. It's a lot of things got to go right from that number 5 spot.
So what match do you see him potentially switching out of the urethane? Like we said, the first match we can expect Jesper's throwing urethane probably all 4 no matter what.
Yeah.
But Kep is going to have to switch at some point.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think he will? And do you think it will be early enough to continue stringing strikes?
Well, Chris has done a lot of shows more recently than I have, but the way it sets up with those first 2-3 guys, they get to bowl first, and so they'll dictate most of that.
Yeah.
How many guys jump on top of EJ? Because if at least one more jumps on with him, they'll make it happen, and he may not even have to start with it.
Yeah.
He may be able to just move in, and Kep's great from the middle of the lane, and would probably prefer to play the middle of the lane.
He probably would
in
prefer
general,
playing almost the same part of the lane as EJ.
and like talked about before, the one time the lanes can get really easy on the right is when there's a left-hander on the show that scares everybody.
Yep. Because it's kind of like an unspoken agreement, like, hey, we kind of have to play together to make sure that we don't get just absolutely run over.
You guys didn't speak about it?
I've never once said it.
Oh, no, we spoke about it. Especially if it's on a show with Miko or somebody like that. Yeah.
Well, I've
we
also,
for sure spoke about it on Scorpion last year. I mean, the lefties usually team up together if they're ever on a show. It's like, hey, we don't care who wins as long as one of us wins.
Yeah.
That's good with us.
Well, you can't ruin each other's shot. And that's
Right.
basically what you're talking about, is just don't ruin the lane. Now, not everybody plays into that. Some guys like lower scores, and that's why we have way less practice before shows now than there used to be.
Because used to be, hey,
Because guys could play defense.
I'm good with throwing urethane up 5 and making it hard for everybody.
Yeah, the scores would be really good on 2 patterns. The U.S. Open, because they were so hard, nobody wanted to be embarrassed.
No.
And when there's a left-hander, that was one of the top guys. If it was Parker or Jason or
Then everybody said,
PA,
we
and
have
they
to
went,
make it nice to
if we
compete.
don't play together at least at the beginning
You're gonna
for a
have
little
to.
bit of practice, we're just all playing for second.
Yeah.
And so
Which is perfect. On the left side of the lane.
Yeah, I'll also say, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever been on a TV show with a lefty that had that same kind of fear factor.
a premier Jacob Jesper.
Yeah, I haven't been on a show like that, so that conversation's never been brought up. I've been very lucky in that regard.
Yeah. Well, Meek and I were roommates, and we did make a fair amount of shows together. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, we'll get down to it, and at the end, you and I will.
Yeah.
We'll play
Battle
for a
it out.
shirt or a pair of pants or whatever at the end. But nobody, there was very much a us versus them mentality there, and I mean, the left does tend to play together a lot more anyway. But
Yeah, for
there
sure.
hasn't been multiple left-handers on a show until there's been a bunch.
Right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, and then you guys are competing against each other at that point.
Yeah.
So you're not worried about it.
Yeah, I was
so
saying,
much.
even then, for at least when there are multiple lefties on the TV show, it's like hey, we only get so many opportunities at this.
Yeah.
If it's first and second for us, that's good with us.
I got to win my first match, however I do that.
Yeah,
And largely
absolutely.
that happened at Thunderbolt last year. Was
And-
multiple guys on the same show,
And it definitely depends.
and a lot of new guys. So
Oh, and it definitely depends too. Like if I'm
scared.
if I'm on the same show as most of those guys you talk to enough, but if I'm on the same show as, let's say, a Michael Martell, who I might not bowl against all the time, yeah, I might not know.
Yeah.
And also, much in tune with some of these guys like an EJ out there, I would know, hey, if I do this, it would not only make the lane better for me, but also worse for him.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally blowing up a certain part of the lane might help a guy like EJ and hurt a kid like an Andrew Anderson or an Alec Keplinger. Ethan Fiore's got the rev rate, got the power, likes to slow hook it
If I'm EJ, I want to push it as far left as possible.
as quick as possible.
Because Andrew's the leader, and to win, you have to beat Andrew. And Andrew's got the lowest rev rate of everybody in the finals.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that's how it'll turn out, because Andrew's got a ton of tricks.
I was
He's
saying
obviously-
it
that's
doesn't mean he's going
number
to hook
10.
it the least. It
No,
just means
it
he's got the
doesn't.
least amount of.
He just won't be able to throw it as hard,
Yeah, I think if it comes down to an EJ Andrew rematch from like U.S. Open, it's going to be EJ's goal is to, like you said, force it as far left as possible, because if Andrew has to overly shape it, his ball hooks really fast front to back in comparison to all the other guys, and he creates a lot less axis rotation. So not to say that he can't open up the lane and curve it, but his strike percentage does go down when he has to overly shape
You're
it.
looking for one hit.
Yeah.
In a high-scoring match, one hits 20 pins.
Yep.
And now, can he come back?
You go from 250 to 220, and all of a sudden you lose.
And that's the game we used to play. I mean, I used to play with Walter and Voss and Duke, and you used to always be a little left of them, always make them go through transition,
And you make
push
them
them
chase
into
you.
the part that's better for me.
Yep. And I think just on the opposite side of that, for Andrew, you're hoping that the guys like Ethan and Kep are throwing urethane on their practice shots, stretching that pattern, allowing guys to stay further to the right and not have to shape it quite as much. Because as soon as they get a little tight down lane and he has free left, his confidence goes through the roof.
Yeah. Well, and Ethan with the mode of urethane, I don't think is not as likely to throw it
Yeah.
as, Kep's got some surface on that
The
black hammer, and
yeah.
so you also don't want him throwing it left or right towards the gutter.
Yeah,
You
as
can
soon as
make
it
it
starts to
messy.
shape it,
Yeah.
get rid of all that free hook.
And I think really Kep's going to want to play into his strengths too. It's early on. You're not quite as comfortable with. Hey, if they make him ugly and it's 210 to win, I'm good with that. You're like, I want ball reaction.
Yeah, I would assume Kep would probably prefer even. I don't think he's a scoring pace kind of guy, whether it be super high or super low. I think he's game with anything. Obviously, the higher the better for probably him and Ethan Fior being the new guys on the block. You'd like some room to throw it at.
Well, those two. This is the heavy hitters. So you can't think that
Jesper,
208 is going to
Andrew,
get you
and-
through much.
No.
So you're like, I got to make them good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially-
if I'm in their shoes, that's what I'm looking. I'm going, all right, EJ's waiting up in the 2. I already got Jesper on the front, and if he has it, that's 250.
Yeah.
Now, so, all right, I need ball reaction.
Yep.
And
You're
and-
going against the 3 guys that have been striking the most in the last couple years. Jesper a little bit more spotty because with the left, but
Yeah.
as soon as Jesper sees it, the likelihood that he throws a 9-bagger every single game is extremely high.
Yeah, it's way up there. And TV changes how guys bowl, but with the 2 guys at the top making the most shows also, they're the most likely to bowl the same game on TV as off TV.
Yep.
No, I agree. And then, like you said, for all of you guys watching at home, like if you were to bowl one of us or one of the guys on the show, you'd much rather bowl us on the house shot because anybody can win. So it's the same similar situation for these guys like Kep and Jesper. If we're getting into that, or like Kep and Ethan, if we're getting into the first match, we had a couple questions. Who's bowling on the first match? Why did they wait 2 weeks before the show? We have a bunch of questions.
Mhm.
So let's get into them a little
Yeah.
bit. We'll take some questions now for the first 10 or so minutes. We'll try and get a couple banged out here. Why'd they wait 2 weeks? So for you just joining, it's less expensive,
Yeah, it's economics.
and Coconut Bowl was all in for hosting the tournament, but they didn't want to kind of cut into their weekend. If any of you guys have been to Coconut Bowl,
Yeah, they-
it is. I just went over there earlier today, which was a Saturday. We had trouble finding a parking spot, and there's about 200 parking spots out there.
Yeah.
So it is
Go-kart track, miniature golf.
all indoor.
I think there's water parks.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's
they-
a movie theater as well in
They
there.
have a
Yeah.
large laser tag, large go-kart. So the weekends are prime time for them. So they
Yeah.
weren't exactly willing to give up the weekend to host a TV show, which is when the PBA needs their TV shows
Yeah,
hosted.
right.
So for us, no worries. We'll wait 2 weeks, come to the stadium. And Coconut Bowl, they were amazing
Yeah.
hosts. However,
It
it's
costs-
also cost effective for the PBA to have it all in one, 5 straight days, 5
Yeah.
straight shows.
the first show.
I guess
costs-
6 straight days, 6 straight shows.
Well, we're Saturday, then we have a live shows tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yes.
And then we take a few days
Take a
off.
break off before
and
the
then
World Championship.
And then next Sunday is the World Championship show. So
Yeah.
it's really a pretty amazing thing. And from a cost standpoint, that's why the World Series was actually created
Yeah.
originally
Yeah.
when things were in a little different situation financially. But the first show costs about 5 times as much as every extra show.
Gotcha.
We're
Because you have
also
to set it up.
because you have
bring
to
the
fly
equipment
everybody in. You have to drive the trucks out. You have to get all the talent here. You have to get room nights and all that. And so the more shows you can do in one day, it's even better. So these will be a little bit more than the ones we do multiple shows in the same day. But as you can hear back here also, they're doing PBA junior shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're going to knock out about 9 shows, I believe, in the next 5 days.
Yeah.
And so economically, this allows for more money to go towards prize funds and things that we would like to see at the same time. So the sacrifice is We have to wait.
And it allows for more TV shows.
Yeah.
Like this could have been an event easily that just wasn't televised. Everybody here would rather it be on TV, would rather these guys bowl in the stadium than just bowl the finals that night at Coconut for sure.
Yeah.
Another thing that people don't love. They don't love taped shows necessarily.
Right.
True bowling fans. So they could have taped it 2 weeks ago. This is still the slot that Fox gave us to put it in.
Right.
So either way, this is where it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so and now it's a live show, and it's going to be in a pretty cool setting. And I mean, honestly, it's still one of the coolest places
To bowl for sure.
to bowl anywhere. And
Yeah.
you know, this place when it was opened in '95 was amazing to see. And there's a few things that are different. The stands are gone, which makes it a little easier to get around in here
Yeah,
from
for
a bowler
sure.
standpoint.
You don't
But-
get as cool views from up top.
Yeah, but it was one of the quirks of the place anyways. The seats were so high that once you're above about the fourth row, you couldn't see the pins anymore
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah.
you were just watching the giant screen that was above the lanes there on 25 and 6.
Yep.
So, I mean, we do have a lot of history on this pair. What do you guys got on this pair? What do you think should happen?
I'm hoping for high scores because I think high scores. I think if it takes 240 to win every game, that would be very appropriate. The scores at the tournament were fairly high. I would hate to see 270 win every game because I think that's a bit too much. A little bit too much luck comes into play when the scores are 270. But I think if it's 240 to 230 every game, it's the perfect amount of shot making versus I need to create the right shape on the lane. It allows everybody on the show to have a good chance to win a game because they're all going to be able to get matched up quick and easy enough. It's just a matter of will they set the lanes up to keep that pace. Josh Dover asked, who's the 5 seed on today's step ladder? That would be Alec Keplinger.
Yep.
No, Jesper.
Jesper.
I guess Jesper's the 5 seed. Alec
It's
Keplinger is the
4.
4.
Yeah.
Ethan Fiore is the 3 seed. Then EJ Tackett and Andrew Anderson, who again have already matched up this year.
Yep.
Any grudges there with those two?
Maybe a little bit, but I think it was definitely not on purpose on behalf of EJ. At the U.S. Open, Andrew struggled with the shot clock a little bit because of EJ celebrating on like a 4-bagger or something like that. Obviously, it's the U.S. Open, putting on a little bit of a show. But there was a situation in like the 6th or 7th frame of the title match where EJ wasn't quite off the approach yet. His ball had come back out of the ball return, so the shot clock starts. But Andrew and EJ kind of got, dancing right there. And as Andrew's stepping up on the approach, he only has 5 seconds left to throw his shot. So he feels a little rushed. And if you go back and watch the show, that's the frame where he throws one kind of out the window and then misses the spare. So he got a little flustered.
Flipped the match.
Yeah, and he was already behind, so it was just kind of insult to injury type of deal. But that's just one of those things where, bad timing on the part of the celebration, but also bad timing on, the bowling. The shot clock starts when the bowling ball comes out of the ball return now, not when the other player is off the approach.
Yeah, normally that's not an issue, but obviously it was a big shot.
Yep.
EJ felt like it stepped him away a
Yep.
will bit, gapped him out, and EJ was basically at home, as close as you get to a home game there.
Exactly.
And so he had a lot of people there. But will Andrew use that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Okay.
I think he's going to be way more cognizant of what the shot clock is, where people are at. He's going to try to get into his pre-shot routine a little bit faster.
We'll use it as motivation, though, against EJ.
I mean,
Everybody's wired a little differently.
I think it'll be like, I don't think it'll be a vocal thing, but I think it'll be an internal thing of like, I'm not going to let you control this match like you did the last time. I think it'll be more on Andrew trying to be the one in charge of like, this is how I want things to go. And, for Andrew, it's a second opportunity at a title in, 7 years now? I think his last singles titles was 2018. So the experience in the single shows gaining a little bit more, and trying to figure out.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
Because he won doubles with you twice.
yep. His 2 titles in 2018, and then he's won doubles with me twice. And he's made other shows, but it was never from the 1 seed. So he's always had the commercial break to lean on.
And this is Andrew's second show from the 1 seed.
Correct.
Yeah,
Do you think that, hypothetically, do we think if he bowls EJ, do you think, like Chris said, do you think it almost like fuels him a little bit? Or do you think it distracts him a little bit into wanting it? Like, for example, not to throw any names out there, but AJ Johnson sometimes has pressed a little bit wanting to beat that person a little too much?
No, I think Andrew has been training so much in the last couple of years that mentally, physically, everything. It's the reason why he's bowling so well.
Yeah.
Is he's been working his butt off for the last couple of years trying to better himself and get back to that player of the year caliber bowler that he once was. And I think he's, figuring everything out. He's made the switch, and now he's top 5 bowler on the planet.
Yeah.
So I think that he's strong enough mentally to not allow it to be a negative impact on his game.
No, we see all this.
It's all hypothetical.
Yeah,
That's if EJ wins.
Ethan Fiore may come up and shoot 800 on his first show, and
you never know.
And we all seen what happens when Jesper gets a little momentum running down the track.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He's a downhill runner. That's Derrick Henry coming right at your face.
Yeah,
So-
no kidding.
Yeah, it can get very good very quick for Jesper. We've seen it time and time again, whether he's on the same pair, crossing the house, or just he finds a little bit of look that he likes to see. And my man started off his career basically making a healthy living at the World Series of Bowling, which I believe. I mean, we put up a poll about 5 minutes ago on YouTube asking who we thought the first winner of that match would be, Jesper versus Alec. Not surprised. Jesper's 83% the crowd pick, much like the gambling odds if you do go over to Bet Rivers. The scoring pace from our perspective, what do we think it's going to be match by match? So online they said 455 for the first match total. So if we're combining the two scores, 455, I think lower than that. That would be a 230 to 220 winner.
I mean, it's tricky because you have to combine what the first game scoring pace was there
Yeah.
versus, and in general, it wasn't bad over there game 1, but it dipped game 2.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was person by person too. We watched.
It was pair to pair. It was a lot of things. Some guys cracked them on the fresh, and some guys needed 2 games before they got any good.
I remember watching the leaderboard. I was like, oh, Graham Fa, 150 over for 2 games. I need to try and shoot 250 every game. And then at the end of 6 games, I look up and he's 110 over. So he went minus 40 the back 3 or 4 games after averaging 279.
And what happened? Yeah, and he
Yeah.
was bombing them on the fresh. Some other guys hit him pretty good on the fresh, and then EJ had one game where he bowled really good, playing further left than everyone.
Yeah,
And the next day he crashed.
Yeah.
doing
the
the
very
same,
same-
doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
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 And so
There were 2 sides of the house for those of you who haven't been
450 is a
again.
nice middle ground, and it allows for a 240, 210 game kind of thing. It's probably not a bad play. I don't. The opening matches are typically, I think, a little lower. You're in the middle of transition way too often in game 1. From an observer, somebody don't make as many. I would like to see our practice probably extend out a little bit more, but we have to have guys not play defense so that shows aren't miserable to watch.
Yeah, I also think that it could be so one-sided to where it's like 250 to 190 type of deal, because the right has more traffic, like you said. There's going to be more transition, whereas Jesper also having significantly more experience than Alec. Not that he's inexperienced, but
Yeah.
in this
And the
setting.
blowout won't lower the score if it's Jesper that wins, because he's going to still throw the same ball.
Exactly.
If it flips and Kep's the one, that score will probably be under, because
Yeah.
Kep will almost certainly be throwing something else.
I
And
could also
things are going to come into play, which
Yeah.
will probably lower it like 20 pins at the 10th.
Yeah.
with as many shots as they get to warm up with, I could actually see Kep trying to start with the urethane ball, and then in the middle of the game, he has flat 10, 4-pin, and he's like, well, I got a ball change.
Yeah.
And then he's, searching all over again.
That's exactly what Eric Tabor asked here. He said, I know I'm late to the show, but is everyone throwing urethane to start? It is Jesper, for sure, yes.
Yeah.
He will also probably throw urethane to finish.
Yeah.
It will. I doubt there will be a ball change unless it's going bad, and if it's going bad,
It's probably to another urethane
I
ball.
would
probably
say-
different anyway. But so is Kep
EJ,
going to start
no.
with it?
I think Andrew, because the top 3 guys get 8 minutes
Yeah.
first.
Which is Ethan, AJ.
Actually, I think I'm not sure if we've actually changed it yet, but we did. They might be the top 3 all bowl at the same time and get 12, and then the last 2 guys get 8 on
Yeah.
the pair by themselves at the end. But I don't think that EJ will. I think he's going to try and help the lane progress to. He liked them better at the other place already in
Yeah.
games 3 through 6.
Yeah.
I don't even think he ever threw it over there at all.
And I And I mean, he's won.
I think he threw some shots in practice.
Yeah, and
you
then
know,
didn't
but
like it.
Yeah, it just
he's
wasn't.
he's won too. Like he is as quick as I can get out of the urethane ball. I have a better chance to get further left and strike more.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and here he's got the tracer. I'm not sure there's anyone that's as good at throwing it at the tracer.
Then
Top of it, bottom of it, around it,
Yeah.
but uses it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I found it fascinating with Team USA talking about how he sees the lane, and I'm sure he can tell you exactly where he's hitting at the arrows.
But he can tell you that.
And he knows because he's
Yeah.
throwing the line back, but exceptionally good at throwing it
at
at a spot 40 feet down the lane, and there's not that many people as good at it
Yeah.
as he is.
Yep.
So moving on from this first match, if we all, first off, a couple questions. Yes, there is a PBA TV show today. It will happen in 28 minutes on FS1. It is the Mike Aulby Nevada Classic presented by Pilgrims. This is just the pregame show leading into the TV show. So if you guys have FS1 or can access it online, it'll happen 28 minutes from right now. You guys can pop over there. And as for...
And I'm a big fan of Pilgrim chicken strips, so you know.
There's been
They're
plenty of
tasty.
chicken strips eaten the whole year for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been in Reno a little too long. But yeah, so Jesper versus Keplinger. We're gonna let the fans decide. But
Where can they find the bet?
Where can they find the bet?
Yeah.
You can go over to Bet Rivers. We don't bet. We're not allowed to bet. But
Nope.
this
Not
is
a
the
gambler.
odds. Jesper plus 700, Kep plus 1500. Jesper is the heavy favorite in the match, of course.
What is the other match? Did you say?
What was he in the match?
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know. I do know right now. PBA Sportsbook. Once again, I'm not looking this up to bet on it. Jesper's minus 150 to win the match.
Wow.
So he's not that much of a heavy favorite to win the actual match itself, but he is a
That's a good
far
bet.
heavier favorite to win the tournament than Kep is. So it's
Yeah.
like if he gets out of the first match, they
Yeah.
expect him to keep winning.
Yeah.
That's actually not. I mean, that kind of plays. You know what
Yeah.
the left to right's going to be like,
Yeah.
but you know if he's got it,
It's gonna keep
be there.
going.
Yeah.
yeah. he's going to be a tough out.
So we'll let you guys pick. You guys have picked Jesper the first match. If you two were going to pick Jesper or Kep, match number 1, you had to pick a winner. Who would you pick?
I'm picking Jesper for sure.
And what's the score?
I think Jesper shoots.
I have to write this down just in case you guys pick.
I think Jesper shoots 237, and I think Kep shoots 223.
So you're picking literally 460. You think they beat the total?
Yep.
All right. And if you're picking, the fans have picked Jesper. Chris picked Jesper. What about Father Barnes?
I'm going with my guy Cap.
I like it.
Let's go with my heart here a little bit.
I like it.
I think his first show's under his belt. I think he has some experience there, and I think he is going to shoot. I don't think it's going to be quite as high scoring as either one would like, but I think 227 is going to win. It could be 231 with an open there somewhere, but this plays into Jesper not really having it, and
Okay.
And he shoots 207.
What pair are they on?
25 and 6.
Yeah, 25.
25 used to have a little depression
Yeah.
right in the middle of it. And when you got up above, you could see where the oil
Didn't
went
go,
over the top
yeah.
of it. Obviously that's gone now.
Yeah.
And the scores have now gone. It used to be one of the toughest pairs on
Yep.
the right, so it made it even worse on shows
Yep.
because where you were playing,
Yeah.
Yeah. Ball got
you
airborne.
could, you could catch a little hook spot, you could catch the edge of it, and it was not great.
My heart is torn here. I've lived with Kep. I've known Kep since he was a freshman in college. I've gotten a lot of advice and help from Jesper over the years. I think the left side is better on the low end than it is the high end. Just from my personal scores this week, I've seen every time I've flipped ends, I've seemed to bowl well, but I don't think it's great close to the staircase or it's close to the ramp. I think it is a lower scoring match. I'll take Kep to win with 223.
Oh,
I think
I didn't see two of us picking Kevin in
Yeah.
this match.
I think Kep, he's had the time off. Jesper bowled yesterday. It didn't go well.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something that ruins his mentality at all. But I just think,
The Iceman.
yeah, I think if it gets down to the 10th, I think Jesper's going to win. But I think Kev might win before the 3 shots in the 10th frame. I just think maybe a shot in that should have held down at Coconut that doesn't hold here, or a shot. Realistically, I think the shot left does not hook as much as the ones at Coconut did.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I think the gut, like you said, 90s, 2000s, up until about 6, 7, 8 years ago. Yeah, I think the shots left hook every single time. But my recent experience here, you got to play a little deeper in on the lane, even with that urethane, and it might just not strike as much as he wants. Yeah. So I do think Kep wins as well. I'll pick Kep to win 224
Well, no, I was
to
thinking
215.
I think they're going to be the nuts on the fresh, I guess, huh?
No. I also pick Kep because I do want to see Kep versus Ethan Fiore. I think it'd be nice to see the two guys that made it out of the PTQ, which we haven't talked about.
Yep.
There was a PTQ for this event. Kep and Ethan Fiore made it out of the PTQ and then both got on the TV show, which is actually a common aspect it's kind of a common trend we're seeing on tour this year. Like, guys who have made it out of the PTQs have bowled very well. We saw it with Nick Pate, the first event of the year in Delaware. Nick Pate made it out of the PTQ, made the TV show.
Which is odd because we're not even bowling PTQ on the same pattern.
No.
Yeah.
They're bowling a PTQ on a different but similar length,
Yeah,
but not similar in shape always.
yeah.
So,
It's not like golf where you played the qualifier on the same course and wow, this course kind of fits my eye and I'm
Yeah.
pretty good at it.
yeah,
Like
most of these shots
They're
are
kind of
drawing
in the same,
around the
although the
trees.
patterns are in the same
Yeah.
general
Length-ish.
ish.
Yeah.
I will say, not a complaint at all, but the benefits to bowling PTQs is if you are in a situation like Nick or Ethan or Kep where you get what we would call free practice, right? More or less. You can also find those bowling balls that match up in those centers and then carry those over to the actual tournament pattern. And a lot of the time, those can end up working as well on the newer pattern.
And I'll go even further into that. It's not like you can find, you have to find.
Yeah, the scoring pace is so high.
The PTQs are, what, 95 for 4 spots, 5 spots,
Yeah.
6
I don't,
spots at
I don't think
most
anybody's
this year?
signing up for that free practice.
No, and,
Wrong wordage, but
but to your point, you
Yeah.
have to bowl well to make it out of the PTQ, and we see a lot of those PTQ guys make the cuts because they are going to bowl well in that building on a similar pattern length where the break points are going to be similar. So I mean, you have to average 230 to get out of,
most of the PTQs.
and sometimes
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to average 240, and you can't afford a bad game. So they all bowl well for 6, 7 games in a row,
Yep.
and then they come onto the pattern, and it's similar enough. At least they have these groups of bowling balls work well.
Yep.
I can throw the similar bowling balls. I
Yep.
can do a similar thing, and now they're not just making it into the cut; they're making it onto these TV shows.
You say it's some of the same matches that we're going to see later on this week too,
Oh.
where guys that get the bye, it's great because you don't have any chance of losing that match.
Yeah.
But the guy that got there has now figured out maybe stumbled onto something that gives him a little better
Especially
strategy.
in match play.
Yeah, and so, and sometimes it works out that way. Sometimes it makes no difference whatsoever. The guys
Yeah.
at the top
almost
have
like-
proved why they were the higher average to begin with.
It's
but,
almost like the more games you get to bowl on it, the better off you become.
but
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect, even if it's in tournaments. So 2 of us picked Jesper out of that first match. Back Bowl Pro Shop, you're wondering where you could bet on it. We are not proponents of Bet Rivers. This is not sponsored. But you can go on Bet Rivers Casino. It's an online casino sports book. They have been posting the odds. I don't know if there's any other place that does do bowling odds or bowling betting, but they have it. You can bet on it. We don't, but we do share the odds with you.
I'm not sure Caesars, who is sponsoring a lot of things this week, has any odds up this week.
I don't.
I don't think so.
And I know you used to.
Might for the World Championship.
They might for the World Championship, but I know right now they don't. Especially because bowlers can't bet on it, and bowlers are staying in those casinos.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those. We don't want to just give you an even bigger risk of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Here you go. Now that you all are staying here.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to pick the winner of the next match after that. But what do you think Ethan Fiore's first TV show? What do you think his score is going to be?
He's bowled fairly well.
it seems like, when he's needed to bowl well.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, he's bowled well this week, but he's bowled well on games that he's needed to bowl well. I watched him yesterday. We were in a close enough vicinity where I was like, okay, you were making a run at the top 16. I'm watching strike or spare, double, split. I'm like, okay, this might not, the rails might be falling off.
Here we go.
Yeah. First time making a top 16 at a major. I mean, he might have made it at the U.S. Open. I'm not 100% sure, but like nothing to this stature of there was 200 bowlers.
Yeah.
We're whittling it down to 16. You're going to have a chance for the TV show because there's enough games left.
Right.
And I'm watching it fall apart, then he doubles. And then he splits again, then he doubles again, essentially to make the top 16. Throwing shots, by no means was it a lucky break.
Yeah.
So
they were getting tricky by
I
the
think
end.
he
For a lot of
throws
people.
plenty good shots. Does he get the right information and does he make the right read early enough? That I don't know.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for him is going to be controlling his emotions, right? I remember my first TV show, Barnes, not a knock, but for you, a little while longer. But my heart was absolutely pounding out of my chest, my first ever TV show. And it took me 4 or 5 shots to really gain control and feel my legs. And I think if Ethan can control those emotions, control his heart rate,
Yeah.
keep his feet underneath him, I think he's going to do just fine. His confidence should be at an all-time high. He's bowled amazing these last 3 weeks.
The blessing of youth is sometimes being the ignorance of the magnitude.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And you go, well, I'm 18. I mean, I'm already 20.
Yeah.
I'm,
What do I gotta
I'm already
lose?
doing this. I mean, this
Yeah.
is kind of how it's supposed to be, right, for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why you see so many guys shoot 160 or they shoot 240.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of real solid 227s in there, and the large, most games get lost in those first 3-4 frames.
Oh, yeah.
No matter who you are. I mean, now at this point, EJ, but even Belmo, like it's been a little bit for Belmo, it's a skinny year. When you haven't been on TV for 6 months, the first time you're back on again, your heart rate still goes back up. It can still feel as home as you want to make yourself believe, but that atmosphere doesn't exist anywhere else in our sport. And so I think you get better at managing it over time. Some people just have it. Having a sports background where you, in some of those, probably helps you get to a middle ground way quicker. Yeah, if he can get out of those first 3 frames with a double somewhere, I think he probably puts in the 230 range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But getting out of those first 3 without an open
Oh,
will
that's
be
going to be
key,
massive.
especially like you say, if it's Jesper and he's running downhill.
Yeah.
It can be over by the 4th frame. Tommy won so many matches in the day by having the front 4, and the other guy's still trying to find his seat.
Trying to figure it out. Yeah.
And I think the bigger thing, I think if Ethan has, I think that Ethan can still recover from, like, if he gets a bad break like a 7-10. I mean, the number of 7-10s that we've seen this week has been kind of crazy.
There will be one on TV.
There's 100% going to be one on TV. Almost a guarantee. I mean, there was a
Not
point
Woodland
time.
percentage, but
No.
Yeah, but I literally watched yesterday in our like game 4, game 5 of the round where Frankie got up in 7-10, you got up in 7-10, and there was another 7-10 2 lanes to the left of us. And
We
so
7-10 back-to-back shots.
yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I think Ethan can still recover from a bad break like that. But
Yeah.
if he misses a makeable, I think that the odds go down.
I think it
Because
gets worse.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
If he misses a makeable, like, the potential for it to be worse is significantly higher. But if it's a bad break open, I think his confidence is not dinged up as much.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I was told, like you share your first story on TV. I made TV for the first time in Shawnee after not being a superstar youth like any of these guys up here.
Yeah,
It was the first time that I was in a situation like that. I was winning sweepers back home against 20 people, and then all of a sudden found my way onto TV. And Parker called me the night before, knowing like, hey, this kid's probably nervous. Did the most Parker thing he could, gave me a phone call and asked me how I was feeling. I told him I was already shitting my pants. Excuse my language. I was like, I've been nervous for 2 days. Like, these guys have been waiting a whole 3 weeks to get on this TV show, 2 weeks to get on this TV show. He told me a story about how he First ever shot on TV, he baby split, made it, and just knew everything was going to be okay. First shot I had on TV, baby split, made it, and I was like, I do not feel like it's going to be okay. I still am nervous. Don't get me wrong, way less nervous than I was. But listen, everything ain't just rocking and rolling in here. But I do think, like you said, especially making a baby split was probably the best possible thing I could have done for my nerves.
Oh,
Which was like, okay, like
it's already
I already threw a bad
tough
shot.
spare.
Yeah.
I already made the tough spare results.
Yeah.
How much worse can it get? Like, I've already thrown a bad shot, and it left me a split that I thought was a 0%.
I've had that conversation. They went,
Yeah.
had reality go, oh,
Yeah.
au contraire.
You can make
Contraire.
this. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think my first show I led. And
especially, I think if Ethan Fior could leave, it's almost like, I believe if he could leave something a little more challenging to make and make it, it would go much better for him.
Yeah.
Or if he, gets a double on a shot that isn't great, much like making a spare that's not exactly high percentage, like a 3.610, a 3.6910, a washout, something along those lines. If he could get himself into a position to make something or to catch a lucky break early, it would go miles up for his confidence. A lot of these guys are picking him to shoot. 220s, 30s. Green Machine said 250. I don't know about that. I hope so.
I do think he will probably follow EJ's lead in the practice.
Yes.
Same staff. They want to kind of be in the same part of the lane.
And I think if
the
you're-
faster you can get it there, and with help, by that second game, he can probably play where he wants to play, which then gives us a chance to shoot those 240, 250 games.
And if you're
It's real easy to shoot 183.
Yeah.
if you're Motive Ball rep Brent Spangler, you're telling them to do it together.
And I
Hey,
think-
our best chance to win this tournament is EJ Tackett. You like to play the same part of the lane as EJ Tackett. Let's get there.
yeah.
Let's break them down and move
The
in.
dual win, both of them have a chance to move it to the part that they feel like they have the best chance, and
And then
4
it
out of
comes down
5
to-
are
Yeah.
Andrew's going to want to get in there too. He
Yeah.
got a home score in there too. He doesn't. I wouldn't call him
Yeah. If he was in the first
a
match,
lover of urethane, but he would throw it.
he
long
did.
enough to get through it.
He did bowl 300 the first game, the last block of the qualifying for the show, using the urethane ball. But the only chance that he was ever going to have to throw it in this situation is if he was in the first match.
Yeah.
So.
Putting up a poll, Ethan versus Jesper. It seems like we got a lot of Ethan fans out there. I put Jesper in there even though we both picked Kep. The fans picked Jesper.
Mhm.
They're going to go, if you guys had to pick an Ethan versus Jesper, even though we picked Kep, we're rocking with Jesper. If you guys had to pick Ethan versus Jesper, who are you picking to win? What's the score going to look like? Especially because this might be a transition game for both of them. Jesper might have to switch into a new urethane after all the practice time, plus bowling that first game. Ethan, we're assuming Kep probably is going to throw urethane the first game. Ethan not afraid to throw it as well, but it probably will be past due at that time.
See right now. First guys are practicing. So EJ threw a urethane ball up the track, trying to stretch it a little
I
bit.
mean, so
Andrew's
is
throwing the
Andrew.
urethane ball as well.
So I mean,
Okay.
we're lucky enough we can see it behind us. We're seeing urethane balls from the top seats. EJ
so-
and Andrew. That tells me they're playing a little flatter than they think.
Probably.
Not a whole lot of hold inside.
I think if Jesper wins the first match, as much as I'll be pulling for Ethan,
He'll be winning the
I
second
think
match as
it,
well.
I think it's Jesper in the second match, 246 to 191.
We have a lot of
Transition game,
Yeah.
because if Kep loses, he's probably going to bail on it early,
Yeah.
yes.
and that won't help.
I also think that because EJ and Andrew are throwing the urethane right now in their warm-up, I think that would incline Alec to not throw the urethane. Because when we bowled together the last round, he told me that he didn't really want to throw it.
Yeah.
And what's the reason that these guys are throwing urethane down there right now? They're the 1 and 2 seed. They're not going to throw it in their matches. We've already discussed. So why are they throwing it right
They
now?
probably felt like they didn't have any missed left, and they're trying to stretch the pattern as much as they can so that way when they get to that middle part of the lane, they have the confidence to not have to feel like they have to throw it at the gutter.
So the urethane balls, for you guys out there, are dragging oil down the lane. They're throwing it basically up the middle or up the middle-ish to drag more oil down lane to create some hold. I mean, they're throwing it now. They're throwing reactivants, of
course. We look back.
Yeah.
But
Well,
They just threw a few up 12, or it looked
Yeah.
like nobody was playing out.
No,
Yeah.
it was right in the track. You know,
And even
12
this
to
week,
8.
the pairs, the guys played the furthest right on,
yeah,
played the tightest,
Yep.
which is normally not
not
how
ideal.
you see it. Well, it's just normally not how you see
Yeah.
it. Once we went to these harder urethanes,
It forced us all straighter.
yeah, I mean, they went the balls go straighter, but the carry down's closer to the head pin, so they actually made the lanes way
Way-
easier
Yeah.
than they were before. The irony was this week is that you would think it's pulling it from the front of the right part of the lane and moving it there, but those were all the tight lanes.
Yeah.
100%.
The guys, when they played the track, those pairs hooked way more. It was a little bit unusual and somewhat unique to this building, I guess, versus some others. And so,
Agreed. We have 100 votes in. The people picked Jesper again. Much like you guys thought, the transition we think will be happening, unfortunately, during Ethan's first game on TV.
Mhm.
Not an ideal situation. Ethan probably would have liked to be either the first. I mean,
how much time do we got?
We got 9 minutes.
Okay.
8 minutes
Nine
left.
We got
So,
two matches to vote
2
on.
matches to go. We got Ethan losing again to Jesper. What do we think Jesper's score is going to be? What do we think Jesper's winning score is going to be? Match number 2.
That's a 246 to 191. That was my
246 to Ethan's 191. What do you got?
I got Jesper bowling. I think Jesper's going to gain some confidence. I think he's going to pop off our first 250 game. I'm going to give him 253 mystery game score. And I think Ethan is going to bowl a respectable 221. I think he's going to have an open in there somewhere.
I'm picking Jesper. I'll go 240 with maybe a ball change in the 10th because he's up. So I'll go 246. And then I'll pick Ethan to probably shoot. I just think he's going to have a couple shots that he throws pretty good that don't do what he wants. Maybe a 710, unfortunately. I'm picking Ethan with a 208. I don't think he's going to have a bad game shot-wise. I just think he's going to have an unfortunate game scoring-wise. Maybe a couple 10 pins, trying to throw the urethane, switch out of it late and split.
Yeah.
well, the other guys are off the lane, so
They
they
only-
might have been throwing your thing for a minute.
They only had 4 shots. I forget that.
Oh, they get shots later in the show.
They get shots later. They get 4 to start, and then they get EJ will get 4 the next round, and then he'll get 8 before he comes on the show, and then Andrew will get, I think, 2, and then 8 before, or something like that. It's different than what it has been in the past. So
Okay.
they don't get as many shots to start the match to kind of deter them from trying to play defense, if that makes sense. Because I thought it was also weird in my practice at the U.S. Open. It was
Yeah.
different.
For what it's worth, I think that's completely crock.
Yeah.
You want
So-
guys to be comfortable?
Give
Give
him
them
more
more
shots.
no shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I first came on, and it was long, I think at first it was an hour, and then it was 45 minutes. Now the balls did
do as much. Yeah.
they did take it off the lane, but not
Not like
Not
that.
not like
this.
this.
Yeah.
The balls absorb so much more now
Yeah.
since
So
2012 or 13. But anyway, I do think we're going the wrong way, and that's why you end up with so many odd scores and weird
Yeah.
transitions in game 1 and 2. And but okay,
What are we
so
thinking?
We have Jesper
Match
versus
number 3.
EJ.
We've unfortunately, and the fans, you guys, not we, you guys have booted the newcomers,
newbies,
the
yeah.
PTQ guys, and we're down to 3 heavy hitters: Jesper versus EJ.
I think EJ. I think it's going to be a Andrew EJ rematch.
That's what I want to see.
I also want to see it.
I just want to see it just either for the redemption factor, for the potential of a little bit of heads knocking, a little extra something on the lanes besides
Yep.
just bowling, maybe.
Yep.
Who are you picking? You're picking.
I'm going to
EJ.
pick EJ. I think he's had such good control of the lane the entire season. He's leading the World Championships. He's bowled great in this building the entire 2 weeks we've been here.
High score, low score.
No, I think he bowls 240, and I think the urethane ball gets a little tired for Jesper, and he bowls 227.
240, 227. Chris. Jesper versus EJ. You've bowled with Jesper on teams many a time.
Yeah, Jesper's in the upset. EJ is the best bowler on tour right now. It's not that close.
Yeah.
But Jesper's going to win this game.
Ooh, with score of?
It's going to start to go away, but he's going to have the front six before it happens.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
And so it's going to be it's only going to be, might even be only 237. But EJ's going to have he's going to have one to wiggle on in the wrong spot somewhere. I think he's going to have a split, and it's going to be like a 222
Yeah.
type game.
Gonna be coming back from behind a little bit.
Going to be trying to
Yeah.
bail it out, and but EJ, I think Jesper's going to have a big lead, and it's going to make it look not as close as.
I think Jesper gets the opportunity in the Ethan match to ball change. He uses a different urethane ball this game. He shoots 268. Back to back, maybe a 7-pin.
I thought he was
maybe
pulling EJ on us here just a second ago. You rolled
Yeah,
over.
listen. I want them to bowl each other. You guys, I mean, the fans are going to pick EJ to win. Yeah, EJ 86% chance winner, which is wild, but appropriate. So, yeah, I'm picking Jesper to win because I want one for the lefties. But yeah, I don't think EJ does any damage. I think it's a double in the 10th. I think EJ shoots 256. Let's say. So I think it's
High scoring affair.
high scoring, maybe a poor count late, but
Okay.
I do think Jesper wins with 268 after maybe a ball change or a zone change. And then we got our final match. The show starts on FS1 in 3 minutes, guys. So we got to shut her down
All right.
quick.
I'm telling you.
EJ, the fans picked EJ versus Andrew Anderson, so that's what we're gonna vote on. EJ versus Andrew Anderson.
Either way. Andrew for the win.
Andrew for the win.
Andrew for the win.
Andrew for the win. I'll pick Andrew for the win. I think he gives a little something at the end of the match. He lost the big one, the U.S.
Yeah.
Open, after leading the whole tournament. He led this tournament, and I think he closes the deal. Maybe not a high-scoring affair. Maybe a 230 wins.
So you heard it here first. We just guaranteed EJ front 10.
Yeah, a low-scoring Andrew Anderson winner, which means EJ's gonna shoot 300 to win.
Yep.
Again, if you guys haven't already, head over to FS1. We're shutting her down here because the show starts in 2 minutes. You're going to see Jesper take on Alec Keplinger in the PBA Mike Aulby Nevada Classic, brought to you by Pilgrims. Shout out to all of our PBA sponsors this year. Yeah, we're shutting her down and heading over to FS1. We're going to head down to the set and catch it live. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.